this is Bill Mosley, and you're watching Mr. Cinema Junkie.
Hello one and all, it is I once again, Mr. Cinema Junkie, and on this auspicious day I am headed to the Henry B. Gonzalez Center here in San Antonio, Texas for the Terror Expo. First horror con I've ever attended here in San Antonio. How convenient, no hotel stay, none of that nonsense. I saw the guest list, great list of guests. Looking forward to seeing what they have going on down here. In honor of our fallen hero, Angus Scrim, I am wearing the Phantasm gear today. Yes, sir. Angus Scrim. R.I.P., brother. Join me, won't you? Oh yeah, we're here. Now let's see what kind of revelry waits for us inside. So here we are inside Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center at TerrorExpo 2016. It's a Sunday, it's the last day of the convention. It's a little less busy than it would be like on a Saturday or Friday night. So more room to maneuver, a little more room to breathe, which is always a good thing. I walked in here and I noticed the bags that they had. Look, you can go with Terror Expo, or you can get Big Lou's Pizza. Who's not a fan of Big Lou's? The best thing about coming to this place on a Sunday, first thing in the morning, is that it is not crowded at all. There's plenty of room to maneuver. The downside to that is that energy that you usually get from being in a crowd of fellow horror fans is lost. There's a slight air of excitement, for me anyway, because of the people who are going to be here, but that feel of being around fellow horror fans, it's there because there's definitely people here, as you can see, but not like at, midday at TFW, say. I'm sure Saturday was jumping with the heat, but right now things are pretty slow. So we can probably do a lot of damage here today. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So far, so good. I am really enjoying myself here. Got some panels coming up. I'll be getting a little bit of that footage. You'll be seeing that real soon. And stay tuned. At the end, you'll see some of the photo ops that I took.
Everybody here, one last question. All right, hey, Cassandra Starwood again. Could you talk a little bit about some of the charitable work you're doing with children and animal rights and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, I do whenever I can. My favorite charities, probably, that I've done over the years are for animal rights of all kinds, and also burn children and people who have been burned, since I was burned myself as a child, and gay rights also, and AIDS-related things. Those have been, I mean, I try to do as many charities and donate to as many charities as I can, but those are probably my pet charities, and that's, you know, I do them whenever possible, donate items or show up to do them. And I recently did one in Hollywood. Gosh, what is it called? Oh my gosh, there's so many. I did it with Linda Blair. It was really awesome. Raised money to take animals from the pounds who have injuries or something wrong with them. They're not adoptable, and have all everything that they need health-wise fixed, so that they can be adopted. It's a great charity. Sitting here, can't.
Why do you award?
No, it's local in LA, but oh my gosh, I cannot believe I can't remember the name. It'll come to me like about half an hour after I leave here. But anyway, a really great charity, and of course, like I said, Linda Blair, who's very involved with saving pit bulls, as you know, probably, was there, and they raised a lot of money for hundreds of dogs and cats to be you know, taken to hospitals and fixed up and then adopted. So that was the last thing I did, but I do them whenever I can. Thanks for asking about that.
So far, I'm having an absolute blast at Terror Expo. Seeing some really big names and some not so really big names. A lot of fans. Not as crowded because it is a Sunday. It's the last. But of all the horror icons and horror paraphernalia I've seen, the scariest thing was the price of a bottle of soda. $4 for a 20 ounce. I don't pay that much for a pint of beer. So I found a water fountain. Why? Water is free. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Those who don't appreciate life don't deserve life. That's the most important one.
Oh man, so welcome to San Antonio. How's your stay so far?
Great, terrific. Froze my ass off walking along the river walk last night. But I've been thrilled to be at such a historic city and meeting so many great people.
I saw that you donated 2 vials of blood to help promote Saw 3, and the funds went to a charity, American Red Cross, was it, I think?
Yes, that's right.
Whose idea was that?
That was Tim Palin's idea. He is the head of marketing for Lionsgate, and he asked me if I'd be willing to do that, and I said no. But you know, my wheels started turning, and I said, what if we were able to turn it into something that's more than just like a marketing gimmick? And what if we were able to do something positive about it? And they connected the donation of my blood to this blood drive that they organized with the American Red Cross, and they actually generated something like 3,500 pints of blood at veterans hospitals around the country, and so it all turned out to be good. In fact, I donated 1 vial of blood. I went to my physician, she took the blood, they pulled a big black car up outside her office. I handed the blood to the driver, he took it to the printer and dumped it in the poster that says, that has my red cloak on it, and that says, legends never die, or something in the upper corner. So it all went for a good cause. I spent 20-some years in New York working on the stage, and until Alan Parker hired me and I actually did 31 films before I ever spoke. I worked with Woody Allen and Scorsese and a number of other directors, Sidney Lumet. I worked for 12 days on a film called The Verdict with Paul Newman. So I just wanted to be close to the camera and find out if I could do what I saw those actors doing. And then Alan Parker hired me to do a film called Mississippi Burning, in which I played an FBI agent. And it's, if you haven't seen it, it's an important film and well worth screening. We shot it in Mississippi and Alabama, and Gene Hackman was in it, and Willem Dafoe, and Frances McDormand. Way around.
Really?
I think but I don't necessarily think there's more value in one than the other. But I think that when Lee and James created the project, it was in a bathroom with all these sort of ugly elements, and he's going to saw his foot off, and it's a horror movie. You've got to have that stuff. So I just want to, even though I'm always fighting for the other, that's what a horror movie is. So that's got to be there. Otherwise, you've got to have the twists, the turns, the scares, the traps. That's the foundation, ground zero. Then, if you can integrate more elements into that, that's what you're after.
Well, welcome to San Antonio. Have you guys been here before? Or?
I have. I was here for Alamo City Comic Con.
Wearing the shirt?
A year and a half ago,
Yes.
I was sporting a wig. We were shooting Freak Show, and I was trying to, I was fielding questions about it and being very vague. I didn't want anybody to know, it hadn't been announced yet. So had I been running around with a bald head, it would have kind of given it up.
I mean, what kind of inspiration did you have for this past character? Because she was absolutely beautiful. I mean, well done. I mean, that was fantastic.
Thank you. Again, Ryan is funny. He is a very visual person, so he gets a strong image. He also is a voracious reader and consumer of culture, pop culture. And so he had heard years ago about a drag queen who died in a fire, some tragic fire in the 80s. And that was the first thing that lodged in his mind. And then he actually had in mind, I think Joni Mitchell, the singer. And then Joni Mitchell became ill, and he felt that it would be in bad taste to be using her name in case she died or in case something happened. So he switched to Liz Taylor. And I got an email from him at one point and he goes, so you're gonna have a head shave, fierce, Cleopatra eye, like that, are you in? And I typed back and I was like, yeah, I don't know what this is, I'm terrified. Actually, I told him, I said, because it scares me, I must do it. And
She was fabulous. Liz Taylor
She was fabulous.
Fabulous character.
And it was a great thing because it was an evolution for me, evolution for the writers. They don't always know where they're going when they write a character. And so we sort of learned together, and they watched what I was doing and responded and started writing in a certain direction. And then I would take that and run with it. So it was funny.
Phenomenal job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Kind of a two-part question. First, which was your favorite character to bring to life? And second, how did the chemistry change from one set to the other with so many rotating actors?
I'm going to answer that, but I have a follow-on question for Naomi, because I always want to ask her this. you know, we all get new characters every year, but Naomi is the only person, really, who's played the same character twice, but she played it in 2 different worlds. So my question to Naomi is, what is it like playing a character, because you know, a character is often tied to the specific place, but was it a different character in Freak Show? You know what I mean? When you're in Asylum, was it different people, different flavor, different feeling? Did it feel really different?
It is interesting, because you're absolutely right, especially about Ryan not telling us what's up. I understood that I'd be coming back as Pepper, for Freak Show, and I was literally in the makeup trailer, like ready to get my head shaved, and I remember Ryan being there and saying, "So, are you Pepper, or?" And I remember thinking, "You tell me, buddy, like, it's your thing, like, but let's decide this now, because he's got some shears, and we should, you know this first." Yeah, I mean, it was kind of, it's interesting, because when you think about it, you wonder, like, did Pepper at the asylum think it was really curious that Sister Jude looked just like Elsa Mars? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And you know, obviously when we were shooting Asylum, I had no idea that there was a Freak Show, so it's interesting, that whole backstory. Like, I assumed when Sister Mary Eunice said, "Oh, Pepper, oh, don't be, she's evil, she cut her baby's ears off," or whatever it was, I assumed I had, because I didn't know any better. And so I kind of like gave that little evil look, kind of to hint at that, but of course it wasn't the case. It was a little, I mean, I did have to kind of cater the performance, because let's face it, it was 10 years younger. I needed to make sure that I was consistent with the character, because we are the same person from, 10 years prior. But, more youthful, a little more lively. It was, yeah, I mean, that was a challenge, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think you would know this as well. They were concerned about the fact that if I were to come back as the, the same character, what does that mean for the miniseries? As a limited series, does that change everything? Because we want our Emmys. And like Ryan said, it was an interesting thing to do, and so they went with it.
As far as my experience coming back every year with a different character, you always hope that you're going to marry a character well. You always hope that you're going to find inspiration. You always hope that you're going to work with it. But, not every character is going to be as dynamic and as lovable. I love Stanley. No one else did. That's fine. I love Spaulding. I was in love with Spaulding. I thought he was a beautiful character. My experience of him may be different than the perception of him. I loved Larry. I thought he was hilarious. But not everybody got Larry. So in a weird way, it's kind of really gratifying to have Liz Taylor, because Liz Taylor's a character who I really know incredibly well. I can't even articulate how I know her. She's a very, very complete character in my head. And so I'm happy that she met the audience's expectations in the same way. But to carry on to what Naomi said, in season 1, I shot my first scene about Larry confessing to killing his family. And that's all we have is that one episode. And so, of course, I'm reading as an actor, and you go for it. And it's dramatic, and it was heartbreaking. And long around season 5, Ryan goes, "Oh, he didn't kill his family." And I'm like, "What? But I've already played that. I've committed to it. It's in the can." He was like, "Oh, no, he was lying." I was like, "I wish I had known that he was lying." So we never know anything.
I mean, I didn't know that Pepper, that Salty was my husband until he died, and I'm grieving my partner's death. I mean, you'd think I'd know that. Like, I probably would have played the whole thing differently. But, what you gonna do? It's not like, the writers justified it. They said specifically, their love transcended sex, so that was good. It's not like they threw me under the bus.
Are you saying you didn't want to have sex with Christopher? I'm just asking a question.
I mean...
Would you ever do Liz Taylor in Scream Queens?
You know, it's funny. I would basically do whatever Ryan tells me to do because I'm a kind of actor that I feel like you do as you're told. I'm old-fashioned, I'm theater trained. That being said, I think that character is such an amazing character that I wouldn't want her to ever be undignified. I wouldn't want her to be used in the wrong way. And so I think it's best to leave her alone. It's like, you know, when Russell Edgington died, leave him dead. Move on. You know what I mean? So I feel like Liz, it's a beautiful, complete story. Leave it alone.
Thank you.
Jamie Lee Curtis joining the cast this year, rumored. Any insight on any of that stuff?
I think a lot of people want to be in Horror Story. I heard that Cate Blanchett wanted to be in Horror Story. That, you know, it's like, I met Mark Ruffalo at the Golden Globes, and he was kind of like, dude, you guys are having so much fun. That looks like a riot. And I mean, all these actors, I think, want to be in American Horror Story because it is a playground.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, and Lady Gaga came and played with us, and, you know, people show up.
Cameo by the whole piano, that'd be fun.
Neil Patrick Harris came up.
That's awesome. Let's do the next question.
Chris Hemsworth is coming next year. Oh, shit.
Is that true?
No.
Oh,
I was waiting for that answer.
Then you know, running for the backs the whole time. Breaking news.
So I do have a question. My family and I have speculated that Ryan Murphy likes to throw subtle hints to what the next season's gonna be. Like in Coven, they mentioned Freak Show, and in Freak Show they mentioned the hotel a couple of times. Can you confirm whether or not there have been subtle hints in Hotel for the next season?
I'm sure there have been.
I'm sure that.
Do you know which character?
But the thing is, you know, I remember I had a line in Freak Show, I'm being tortured, and my line was, stop, I have a cousin who works in the Garden of Allah, which is a hotel, which is where Valentino ended up living. So, you know, what comes first? That idea and the line? I think they're really clever at looking back at past episodes and kind of like figuring out how to pull it through. Although, God knows, they could have planned the whole thing. So, yes. There are already Easter eggs there are already things that are planned.
Well, and the way you say that Ryan said that, you know, oh, you didn't burn your family, you know, kill your family in the fire, like, it's like he's planned the whole thing out, maybe.
He told me that I was going to be in love with Tristan early, because he said, I want you guys to try to find ways, whenever you see each other, to just, like, have a little look, or whatever. So he kind of, we didn't tell anybody else, so we knew, but nobody else knew. But yes, there are definitely clues.
Thank you.
Watch it again. Watch it every day.
I was gonna say, you have a clue? Have you
Frame
seen
by
this
frame.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Anyway, my question is for both of you. Who is your favorite character from American Horror Story, but not one that you play?
Maybe Myrtle Snow. For her clothes, just her wardrobe. No, actually, I think Frances Conroy has, like, she was kept the good ones. I mean, gosh, the Dark Angel, the maid, Dandy. Well, Dandy's mom, but Dandy. Those are my favorites. Sorry.
They're good.
I think mine are Constance from season 1, Jessica's character, just because she was so outrageous. I mean, she said things that you cannot say. I was just like, what? You read the script and you go, you can't say that. I love that. I thought she played it so beautifully. I also, gosh, what else do I really, really love? I mean, mine are all Jessica, unfortunately. I loved Fiona in Coven. I thought she was a great character. I like the powerful characters. I also love Danny Houston, his character, so the Axeman was really fun, I thought. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good question. This will be time for these last three here. 1, 2, and 3.
Hello. Just wanted to say that I love Pepper. She's my favorite. Just want to say that. But as far as the music and some of the, in all of the show actually is extremely incredible. You have like, she loves Revenge, Ministry, Sisters of Mercy, all that. Is there any other bands or artists that you would like to see incorporated in the next American Horror Story?
Great question.
I mean, I thought getting Stevie Nicks on the show was amazing. What a crew that was. And, Adam Levine from NSYNC was pretty crazy. crazy. And Lady Gaga. I mean, it's, talking about getting musicians in the show. Gosh, it'd be amazing to have somebody like that. I'm a classical music freak, so I listen to a lot of opera, and I listen to a lot of 17th century and 18th century opera. So I would like them to be on the show. Need a little Handel, man. That'd be amazing. Donizetti, whoa, Bellini, rock on.
A little zombie episode,
Yeah. Stravinsky.
Gosh. I'm not much of a Band-Aid either. Like, I don't really follow. I love how, gosh, there was so much Bowie in Freak Show.
I love that too.
So it's like,
I think it's fun to have Beck. Beck would be fun.
oh yeah.
It's crazy music.
Yeah.
Bon Iver.
It would depend on the season and the theme. Like Hotel did such a great job of sort of, like the music in Hotel was so different than any other season we've seen. That sort of synthesizer 80s stuff. Like I really like dubstep and electronica, and I think it'd be, I don't know what that would be. Maybe that's Alien?
Aliens, yeah, Skrillex.
Okay. So, yeah.
Awesome. Beck, okay?
Okay, so hi guys, my question is actually, how do you guys separate yourselves from your character during the really emotional scenes? Like an example being the episode where they explain Pepper's history. That was gut wrenching. Where just almost anything with Dennis O'Hare has been, gut wrenching. All of his characters have, gone through. I mean, look, in season 3, you were so abused. I cried for you then when Yana didn't love you.
No, it was when Gabby Sidibe put a pancake turner on my face. I was through. That's why I didn't mind her dying in Hotel.
So
you put a pancake turner on my face.
How do you keep from breaking down? I mean, it's heartbreaking, especially what Pepper went through. I mean, all of it. How do you separate yourself?
I mean, you don't keep from breaking down. You want to break down. That's how you get the nomination. No, I mean, you asked initially about like how do we separate ourselves. I mean, let's face it, I could not be more separate than Pepper. If anything, I was having to find connections to her, which there are plenty. I'm very playful. I have a huge heart. I love babies. So, if anything, I was having to find those universal truths that she and I share. And honestly, that episode that you're referring to was so gut-wrenching, and I lived with this little girl for years, and that story. I don't want to say it was easy, but it really was. Like, I was that.
What was it like working with Gaga? Were you like starstruck?
I was Gaga. You know what? She's a great girl from Jersey. I mean that in the most respectful way. She is a completely solid, normal, fantastic person who is multi-talented, super talented, and she showed up on set and brought the same sort of discipline and commitment to this job as she does to every job she takes. But she doesn't come across as entitled. She doesn't ask special things. She's an actor's actor when she's on the set. I was quite impressed with her. Yeah.
Put a fork in me, I am done. And thus wraps up Terror Expo 2016 at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center here in San Antonio, Texas. First convention of the year, but it won't be the last. Stay tuned, stick around, see what comes up next. Talk to y'all soon. Thanks for watching. Always appreciate it. This is I, Mr. Cinema Junkie, bidding you a fond farewell.